This is where we find out whether every single radio interview is introduced with like a Rolling Stone. Curtis Stone, chef and author of What's for Dinner. Greetings.
Thanks so much, guys. Thanks for having me.
This is your book. It's called What's for Dinner. And I was going to ask you, but I think I've had the question answered already. Is this for Australian consumption or American consumption?
It's for Australian consumption. Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
Okay. And where do you live now?
We're sort of between LA and Melbourne. So, we spend a bit of time in both places.
Have you got a restaurant?
We're opening one in September this year in the States. Yeah, in LA.
Right. What's it called?
Nothing yet. We're still figuring that out. So if you have any good ideas, let me know, because it's a miserable thing trying to pick a name for a restaurant, actually.
Hey, yeah. What's the idea behind the book? It's a cookbook.
It's a cookbook, of course, and it's called What's for Dinner. Look, I think I've had so much experience with developing recipes for home cooks in all the different work I do. I did a TV show in the States called Take Home Chef, and over here I've worked, of course, with Coles, developing hundreds of recipes for home cooks. And the thing I hear the most is people have the same challenges, and when I characterise those challenges, they all sort of fell into a different day of the week. So I've given each day of the week a different chapter. So Monday is Motivating Monday, because we just ate and drank too much on the weekend.
That's true.
So that's to get us back in shape. Tuesday is Time Saving Tuesday, because it's such a busy day in the office, so 15 to 30-minute meals. Wednesday's One Pot Wednesday, so that's to cut down on clean up, so you just one pot to clean up at the end of the dinner.
Oh, I'm sure John and I both had the wrong idea of what One Pot Wednesday was.
Thursday is Thrifty Thursday, because you're saving again for the weekend. Friday's 5-ingredient Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday are both entertaining days. So one's dinner party Saturday and the other's family supper Sunday. So
Now, where did you do your training? Getting right back to the start.
right, I started here in Melbourne.
Yeah.
What was once upon a time, this is showing a little bit of my age, the Southern Cross Hotel.
Oh, yeah.
And then I moved on to the Savoy Park Plaza, which is now called something else. And then I moved over to Europe when I was 22.
Who'd you work with over there?
Marco Pierre White. So I spent 8 years with Marco in London, and sort of started as the guy cleaning the floor and picking the salad leaves, and ended up running his business.
When you say you spend some of your time in LA, are you able to walk down the street in LA, or do you people pointing at you going, "That's Curtis Stone"?
The funny thing about LA is no one walks down the street. Everybody drives everywhere and valets their cars. So, look, I've been there for 6 or 7 years now, and done a bunch of different television shows. So, it's been an interesting ride. I got there, of course, having never been on American television, and feeling that progression over the 5 or 6 years to when you are sort of plastered all over the place. It feels really different, but I still like the place.
A very close friend of mine says there's nothing quite as unattractive as a man who can't look after himself. How important it is for a man to be able to cook?
Oh God, I think I think it's actually one of those incredible things that if you can get a decent dinner on the table, it doesn't mean you have to be a gourmet chef. It's a very nurturing thing to do for someone. When you think of what they like, you think about the ingredients they like, and you do pull together something that's nice. It's the food. Chefs get a little too precious about themselves, in my opinion, but the food is just the conduit to the good time. It's the thing that sparks good conversation, the appreciation for the person that cooked, the cooperation in the cleaning up. So I think it's a very important thing to do.
Now, I noticed when you signed the book that's in front of Ross there, that you used your left hand. Is there, and you're presumably left-handed, is there any disadvantage in a chef being left-handed?
You know what? I don't think so. I don't think so. My dad will tell you that left-handers are the most discriminated group in society, and I'm not sure that that's true. But I've never come into any dramas in the kitchen.
Is it a tough cape running a restaurant? Have you got to be opening one in Beverly Hills? Is it?
Yeah,
So is it high end, or because there is a tendency sometimes I notice in the States that they do quite like their sort of fancy sort of food, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They do. There's a really interesting mix. I mean, America's such a big place, so it's hard to throw a blanket over it. But there's a lot at the high end, there's a lot at the low end, and there's a lot in the middle as well. But, for me, what I want to do, I miss those little restaurants that are intimate and special. And so we've got our hands on this tiny little space. We're going to open a 35-seater, which I want to be at, and I want to cook it, and I want to write the menus, and I want to be there. So very different, far cry from hanging your name over a door that's got 500 seats in it and showing up once a month. I think that the little intimate space is what I'm looking for.
So like the Italian trattoria or the French bistro?
Right, I want it to be really market driven. So, going maybe not even have a menu, just sort of get your hands on great quality ingredients and cook with it.
Can you get those sort of ingredients in LA as opposed to... I mean, everybody says that the best thing about Melbourne restaurants is the fresh ingredients.
Right.
Can you get them in LA?
You know, I mean, California, where we are, is one of the best growing climates in the world, and you can. I grow a lot of my own veggies there, and you can certainly get your hands on incredible vegetables. Seafood's a little bit harder on the west coast than it is on the east coast of America because you miss that cold water seafood, which we get such great stuff here in Melbourne and all the way Victoria and all the way through South Australia. We get beautiful seafood from. So the fish is a little harder, but yeah, you can still get good ingredients.
Tell us about the restaurants in the world that you enjoy, because last week, of course, they had the San Pellegrino Awards for the world's top restaurants. We got a bit excited because Attica in Ripon Lee leapt up to 21.
Right.
What about, have you been to these joints? Have you been to Noma and El Bulli and French Laundry and Per Se and those sorts of places?
I've been to most of them. I haven't been to Noma. I've been to the rest. But I just ate at Attica recently, and I tell you what, he's doing an incredible job of representing Australia and our culture and cuisine. The amazing thing about Australia is when you look at a cuisine, I think it's really closely represented by its culture. And if you think about Australia, yeah, we're very multicultural. Yeah, we have British ancestry. Yes, we have incredible indigenous, unique ingredients here. But we also, in some respects, I think, are a little anti-authoritarian, which sort of brings us back to our roots here in Australia. And the chefs sort of represent that through their cuisine. And he sure does at Attica. He breaks all the rules, and he invents and he does stuff that's really creative and very new and modern, which is really exciting.
I want you to imagine this: that you're in a prison in the United States, in a state where they have the death penalty, and you've been sentenced to death, and you're awaiting the gas chamber, and the kindly soul comes in and says, "I'm now taking your order for your last meal."
Oh, good question. Well, I'd have all sorts of chefs fly into... I might have Ben come out and do a course from Attica. He did this incredible slow-cooked... Even though he's a Kiwi originally, but I'll forgive him for that. He did this incredible slow-cooked potato dish.
The one that's called potato in its own dirt.
Cooked in its own soil, yeah. And it is so good. It's really amazing.
I've had that. It is incredible, isn't it? It makes a potato... just a unique dish.
Yeah,
we're being told that we're going to let you go because you're required elsewhere. But good luck in finding the prison chef who is able to cook potato in its own dirt.
There'd be a lot of truffles in there as well.
The book is called What's for Dinner, and it is by our guest Curtis Stone. Curtis, nice to meet you.
Lovely chatting to you. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.